Hello, happy Friday, and welcome, gamers. This is, of course, Breakfast with Boom. I am Mr. BoomStick XL, and today, folks, I'm here with Dreadpool, with Web Dave, with Crispy Bomb. Fuzzy Belvedere should be joining us shortly. We have an outstanding show for you today. We are going to be breaking down and officially scoring Sony's so-called showcase that came after a 600-day absence from Showcase and its community. Yeah, they had some state of plays, and some of the state of plays were pretty good. There's no doubt about it. But this was a big disappointment, especially, folks, if you are someone like myself who owns a PlayStation for their exclusives. Now, let's not get it twisted. The near 13 minutes of Spider-Man 2 footage, what for me, mind-blowing great. I mean, listen, if you're a comic buff like I am, if you're a Marvel stan like I am, if you are a fan of Spider-Man specifically, and more importantly, or just as important, Miles Morales, because I have a connection to that character that goes deep. I told you folks how I played the Miles Morales game, and in the first 30 minutes, folks, I was crying like a baby. I love this character, and I love obviously Peter, and I think this game is going to be absolutely astounding. Literally Insomniac at their absolute finest. But the one thing that I walked away from this was this might be a sign of trouble for fans like myself who look towards their first party and their single player helpings. That might be the end of an era. Again, a lot of what has released already seem to be things that were in the works before Sean Layden was removed. And these gas games, which we saw a ton of them that looked, first of all, most of them were CG trailers, and whatever we did see looked mid at best, might be the Jim Ryan era of PlayStation gaming, because obviously gas games are all the things. But gas games, if you're going to make one, it got to be good. And nothing that they showed interests me at all. The fact that Factions wasn't there is disgusting. The fact that we didn't get an announcement for a gas game that could potentially work and give Call of Duty a run from its money in SOCOM, nowhere to be found or mentioned. Very disappointing. But listen, we're also going to open up, folks, with what happened yesterday with IGN. They have proven once again that they're just disgusting. They're a bunch of posers, and they stole advertising from Microsoft, and they did it. They still have not apologized for it. I've been checking the social media, left, right, and center, and I have not found anything, any kind of an apology for their disgusting behavior. And of course, the gaming media continues just to, well, be D-bags. And we'll get into why I'm calling them D-bags. A lot of them are Games Radar. Anti-Xbox website once again did something that we'll talk about. But let's get into the introductions. We'll start first with Dreadpool. Dreadpool, good morning, brother. How the heck are you? And what have you had for breakfast?
Well, good morning, everyone. I am not muted, which is awesome. I am on time, on spot on, unmuted, everything. Just don't tell my heart doctor, but I had to save a Popeye spicy chicken sandwich and have it for this morning. So, but hot coffee and a spicy chicken sandwich from Popeyes. No promo. No,
Whatever your stomach can handle, brother.
I
Sounds
love
interesting.
it. It's so good. It just like sizzles and numbs the mouth at the same time. It's so good. But yeah, I'm it's just man, I'm happy to be here. I am wide awake, as you can tell. I've got so much to say. I don't know if I'm gonna rant away, but it's definitely a pool party, and let's just jam on.
Yeah, so there have been several people in the chat that have been asking for a Dreadpool rant. I feel that some of the topics we're going to get into, specifically with the IGN, literally with IGN stealing assets, advertising assets from Microsoft, not apologizing for it, and just considering. And folks, I did some, I like to do some research, so I like to find out who I'm talking about. Now, on paper, right now, IGN, their net worth as of the end at the start of May was $17.4 million is what the net worth, and that's what they get on YouTube. But according to the article that I pulled, they're closer to near 25 million because of some deals that they have with, particularly PlayStation and whoever else that they do advertising for. So they're closer to 25 million. IGN is known as a conglomerate, but they're also known as one of the top places to get your video game news. Now, I don't use them at very, very rare. I will give them credit when I pull a story, but it's very rare that I do because I don't like them. I think they're just disgusting. And for a company as wealthy as they are to basically, without any regard for professionalism, steal the Xbox artwork and use it and watermark it, water stamp mark it with their own logo in this day and age is bonkers. It is bonkers to me. Web Dave, good morning, brother. Congratulations,
Morning.
folks. If you didn't know, he hit 1K last Friday. He's rocketed to 1.13K because he's gotten another additional 100 and something subs, which is amazing. And he's now partnered with YouTube. Good morning, Dave. What a Friday to wake up to, man.
I know, man. It's great, and thank you for letting me be on here and for reaching the masses, because I do appreciate everything that you've done for us to help us out, help us reach our goal. You tirelessly help young YouTubers get to where they
Thank
need
you,
to go,
sir.
and it'll never be forgotten, and I'll always be in your debt for that. And I appreciate that. And you ever need me, you know I'm here for the call.
Well, I definitely
always.
appreciate that because you're on two of my shows, and literally, it's the least I can do. I mean, helping others is what it's all about, right, folks? I
You're
mean,
the man.
I started out with one sub too, and that one sub, Mrs. Boomstick. She started me off on my journey, and well, all those years, and now we'll make 6 years. Yeah, 6 years this November. Here we are. We're almost at 13K, and the last couple of days, holy cow, we've gotten like almost 200 new subs, which is normally we get 200 a month. We got 200 in the last couple of days, which is just bonkers. But Crispy Bomb, if there's someone that needs to be salty, it's probably going to be you, and we love you for it, brother. Good morning. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I am sipping some salty drink right now, and I don't know, it might be too salty for my feels
Dilute it
about
with
that.
some water so it's not as salty. Last thing you want to do is drink something and still be thirsty.
I gotta keep my blood pressure down, right, bro? I mean, come on. I just want to say I'm gonna get into it. I took notes on the showcase, by the way, so
Oh,
don't come at me like that. So, I don't know why I took notes, but I took notes. So we'll get into
you know
that.
what? Listen, you want to be precise in your points, and there's a lot to get into with that. And listen, again another salty show. Breakfast at Boom, and here you are once again. We're looking forward to getting your hot take on it. And last and no way least, the best driver in the business, who once again leaped over cars left, right, and center to get here on time. Fuzzy Belvedere, what's going on, brother? We had a nice treat. Actually, the cover for Forza Motorsport leaked because it came out in an email. I saw a YouTuber put that out and said, "Hey, I think I found the cover." I don't think the guy got enough credit, but yeah, it was confirmed as that is the cover of the new Forza game, which tells me that game is in fact releasing this year. That's my opinion. Good morning, Fuzzy. How you feeling?
Good morning, everyone. Glad to be here. Yeah, I'm so glad we got to see some leaked info for Forza. Looking forward to the showcase next month on that. Starting to think that that demo drop, being like a shadow drop or something like
Oh,
that,
yes.
being at the show might be more of a possibility. But man, Sony, if they weren't tripping over rakes before with the whole ABK stuff and other stuff, oh man, I can't wait to get into that. But and IGN just being IGN,
They're just
yeah,
disgusting. They're just
yeah.
that's the, I mean, you're gonna hear me say that a lot. I just am so tired of, they go out of their way, Fuzzy, to take shots at Xbox
Mhm.
at every corner, and to add salt to the wound, because Salt is obviously a sponsor of Double Barrel Gaming. Um, they steal the advertising assets, recrop it,
Mhm.
and put their logo and the PlayStation showcase on there. Oh my god! The unprofessionalism is just not to be believed.
Yeah, I'm glad that a few of the Xbox employees kind of called
Stein,
them out on it.
actually,
Yeah.
yeah, he's great. I love Stein. That guy he does not hold his beard back.
No, but yeah, somebody definitely need to call them out on it. But man, loving to see Xbox actually take shots at PlayStation right after the showcase. They're kind of pulling the Sony like Sony used to do. Every
Yep.
time Xbox would have some good news, here's Sony to kind of rain on it. Well, yeah, Xbox was like, oh, what a great group of games. They're by the way coming to Xbox. So
Yeah,
yeah, that
great
was awesome.
classic. Well, listen, folks, before we get into the topics, yesterday, if you missed it, I was presented an absolutely astounding opportunity. And I took a shot. My pop always said, it's always going to be no if you don't ask, Craig, right? That's what he used to say. So yesterday, I had a scheduled guest in Post Up, and we were specifically going to talk about some of the Florian Mueller, who obviously FOS patents on Twitter. Um, and there's been some real big findings. One of which was that the director that literally blocked the deal for the CMA worked for Sony and Google. Suspiciously enough, those two companies are the ones opposing the deal. I mean, again, I call BS, and I think that this puts the UK government in an even tighter position, where the CMA is allowed to run rampant and potentially have some real questionable people in place to make a questionable decision on someone that has, for his entire career, fought against Microsoft. So again, it's to me, it may not do anything for the decision, but I think when Kat takes a look at it, there's going to be some questions as to the honesty of what exactly happened. Well, um, I was, again, Post Up and Florian have been two of the biggest proponents for the deal. They've been putting out information that is very digestible for the gaming community, who normally don't get involved in the law aspect of gaming. We're gamers. We play games. That's what we do. And I had reached out to Florian, and he came on the show. And not only was he there yesterday, folks, he was there for 2 hours. And this is on the cusp of a story by Jez Corden of Windows Central, who broke the news that the current director that blocked the deal worked for Sony. Well, folks, if you missed it, and I don't have the timestamp, I just don't. He was on the show for 2 hours yesterday with Post Up, and he literally broke down word blow by blow how he found out about this and how the story broke. So we didn't get a chance to get to the super chats yesterday because I didn't know how much time both of these guys had. They were on borrowed time. So I'm just going to quickly read those super chats. And then, of course, with the new super chats, if any come in, I will read them as I normally do. Yesterday's first super chat came the way of Chaos Might, who's a good friend of the program. He dropped a $5 super chat and simply said, "Enjoy your shows. Off topic, McDonald's showcase was better than Sony's." Wow. Yeah, and I agree with you. I think that if you can tell me about a new Big Mac that's painted red for like Miles Morales, I'll try that Big Mac, which that's actually a thing. If you didn't know, is it? Yeah, I think it is McDonald's. Oh no, it might be the Whopper. Oh my
It's
God,
Burger
and
King.
it is Burger King. I got it wrong, folks. It wasn't McDonald's. So actually, McDonald's show might have been better. We got Highlander 001, generous friend of the program, up to $5 super chat and says, if yesterday's Sony showcase is what will look like after Microsoft gets Activision, God help them. They're in real trouble. Yeah, we might have seen a glimpse into the future of a Jim Ryan run PlayStation, and it doesn't look good. Jacob Novick, another generous friend of the program, dropped a $5 super chat, and this one makes me smile. He says, Xbox era co-founder Special Nick. He said, Killer Instinct 2 will be revealed at the showcase on June 11th. Boom, stop what you're doing and look at my DMs, which I did, brother. I thank you. And if that's the case, I'm not streaming it live. We're going to do a post-show reaction. The panel is massive. I can't wait for you guys to see who we're going to have on. I'm going to fall out of my chair. Like, I'm going to fall out of my chair. We had Highlander 001 drop an additional $5 super chat and says, Bobby Kotick said they had no reason to put any games on a streaming service or Game Pass service. He said they only want, the only way that happens is if Microsoft acquires them. That is an absolute fact. Asante, good brother of the program, he dropped a very generous $5 super chat and says, good day all. Salute to the host. Thank you so much. And special guest Florian for coming on and taking us all to school. Of course, to my slanders brother, have a safe flight. And talking about everyone who jumped on, by the way. Everyone was there and asked some really key questions. We have Marvin Ginyard. Hey, Marvin, brother, thank you so much for the generosity. He says this after dropping a $2 super chat. Mortal Kombat 1 no-show yesterday is Microsoft marketing. I don't know about that, but folks, I'm here to tell you that being that there was no announcement of Grand Theft Auto at Sony's big show, I'm trying to keep the expectations like buckled down, but I think Microsoft might have dropped the bag at 2K, man. And if they were gonna drop you've heard me complain about them not having the zeitgeist hook for marketing. But I'm going to tell you this right now on June 11th, folks. If that one more thing is a trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6, holy shit is all I'm going to say. Okay. Jacob Novick drop. Oh no, we have Mandingo McThickens. I love that. He drops a $5 super chat and says, boom, when did Moses join the isn't he a couple of thousand years old? Aside from that, I call BS on the CMA and FTC collusion style. Yeah, absolutely. Who had a big beard yesterday? It wasn't Everborn. Oh, he's talking about Post Up. Post Up got a bit of a nice beard. Jacob Novick dropped an additional $5 super chat and says, Killer Instinct for Xbox One was and is free to play, but you only get the character Jago. I think if Xbox Shadow drops it, if it's true, free only. I don't know so much about that. I mean, if they do a free to play model, I don't know if that works. But see, remember they didn't have Game Pass in 2013, so I think it'd be a little different now. I think it goes into Game Pass, and the characters are the characters, and maybe they charge you for guest characters. I'm gonna tell you this right now: if I could play as Doom Guy or Power Armor Fallout or Joanna Dark, take my money, please. That's not even a question. Now, JD Gamer dropped a couple of super chats. The first one of $10 says, it's my understanding that the Prime Minister has the unilateral authority to step in and override possible decisions of the CMA, but only if in the early stages of the process in the name of national interest. That is true. Cat might have the from what it was explained by Florian, Cat can in fact prove that the CMA should have taken the remedies that Microsoft offered and close the case from there, ultimately approving it, which is something that could potentially happen, but it's got to go through the process, and that could take a couple of months. He drops an additional $5 super chat and says, because all of that, I feel the CMA's decision was designed to take Microsoft, UK citizens, and the prime minister by surprise. And if nothing else, sounds like collusion. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone, I read everyone's super chat live on the air because it was a question. Brett Bingham drops a super chat of, it says, to me, $5. He says, to me, it sounds like at very best a recusal was needed. This sounds like this will necessitate CAT to decide and not send it back to the CMA. And that's a very good point. Okay, so I'm going to stop there, folks. I'm going to get to them before we start reading the other super chats. I promise I'm going to get everyone's super chat today, but we got to get on with the show. We're 20 minutes in. Crispy, let's talk IGN. This took the internet by storm. Shout out to J-Rock. Shout out to I have to look at all the tweets. Everyone that called out IGN for this, it's well deserved. And basically, the Xbox community came out as a family and called IGN to the carpet. You've already heard my distaste for IGN. I've already had a distaste for them because I think that they're at best a mid news media place for gaming because they focus so heavily on Sony, and at every given corner and turn, Crispy, they take shots at Microsoft. And this to me is not only egregious, it is unprofessional at the highest level. And as of 10:21 a.m., I have not seen an apology from IGN stealing the artwork assets from Microsoft advertising. What are we looking at here, Crispy?
I mean, if Microsoft wanted to be a prick, they probably could sue them. To be honest with you, I don't think they will, because then it would just be the big bad Microsoft suing them. I mean, we all know that would be the case. Stein like literally called it out. He could have made the darn thing for all we know. You know what I'm saying? And you look at it and you're like, but why IGN? Why? I mean, let's be honest here. Those are multiplats. Like, why are you going to do that? They're coming to Xbox. Why did you crop that out? Why did you put the logos in there? Why did you once again allow Sony to act like they're exclusives? That's not media. See, the way I remember media is that you report on things and the facts that they be. So the proper thing to would have been done is quote tweet it, put your own context with your article on top of it.
Yes.
And call it a day. All right. It's not that hard to do. This is where I have, in the past few months looked at, certain sites. I look to the community. I don't really look, and I think everybody in the chat would agree with me. You look to the community, their reactions. When I have, because I follow more PlayStation guys than people really realize. And when they're mad about something, like that's where I go and say, well, I don't even have to say a word. I could just sit here and just be like, okay, I'll give you the tip hat of respect, dude. Like seriously,
Yes.
like, call it out. Like we've done it ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And that's where it's like, IGN. I mean, are you in the pocketbook of Sony at this point? Like,
They
is
gotta
this
be,
like,
dude. This just
I mean, come on, dude. Like,
yeah.
this is stuff like, and don't get me wrong, like kind of funny at first. I was like, oh, you guys are like full on, but as they've gone along past few months, they've really, started becoming just a gaming. Let's talk about the news. Yeah, you might have some snarky comments in there. That's fine. You know what I mean? But let's not go crazy. And that's where like you've been disappointed in certain sites that you look to. IGN, I don't look to anymore. And I feel like they're at the point where they don't know their identity. They don't know if they're a gaming site or let's just push PlayStation and Nintendo and forget about Xbox. And I mean, we don't see them really like cite PC games often. That's what Eurogamer's for.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it's, I don't know. Like I always expected IGN to be a gaming site, a news aggregate for gaming itself. whatever
A
it may be. It
hub
could be a
for
mobile.
all platforms.
It could be a mobile game. It could be Candy Crush as a new thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. But at this point, I feel like all they want to do is make Sony look good. And that
Yeah.
is it. And they continue. I mean, we've called it out, and they've been pretty smart about certain article. We haven't really had like this article where we're like talking about it. But then you go and do this. I
Yeah.
mean, and I, you know what? Maybe it was an intern or something, like you said. Okay.
Someone
come
had to
out-
approve this, though, dude. See, again, that's that. See, and I thought about that, Crispy, and I give you great credit for bringing it up because maybe it was someone that was inexperienced that didn't know. But if in fact that is the case, let's say it is an intern. Interns are learning; they are going to make mistakes. I absolutely get that. Someone had to give this the okay, Crispy. Someone had to sign off on this.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Twitter is a marketing tool, is it not? Has not like every company acknowledged that?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to have some kind of oversight over, you want new ideas, but this isn't a new idea. You have basically stolen something and not even given the credit for it. And we're talking about a gaming company. So, they did this because they don't want people thinking these games are only on PlayStation. They are actually calling it out, which I give Xbox total credit for. For the love of God, keep doing it. I don't care. We will call out these IGNs because I'm sick and tired of this. I'm sick and tired of the media in general. It feels like it's all bought and paid for already, and it's ridiculous. I'm tired of it. And that's really where I'm going to leave it, because I think we all need to stand up and say, you know what, IGN, if you're not an actual gaming site and I'm a gamer and I don't care what platform you play on, well, guess what? I am not going to sub to you. I'm not going to look at your stuff. If it's something that's clickbait, don't click it.
Yeah,
let's stand the hell up for this stuff, man. Come on.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's good. That's good stuff. Listen, as we close in on 600 people here, which is, I'm still blown away. I remember when we could barely get 100 in the chat, which is, again, it brings such a smile to my face because you put the work in and you're very happy that people are enjoying the content. Please, for the love of Jehovah, hit the freaking like button, and if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing because, listen, we're not usually negative. I'm always very positive, but when the negative stuff happens, we got to talk about it. So I want to go to Dreadpool next on this. Dread, I was telling you in the green room for Wednesday's record-breaking primetime gaming, we had over 1,200 people in the chat. Folks, I'm not being disingenuous when I tell you, when I start to see those kind of numbers, that's Colt Eastwood. That is Dealer Gaming. That is Randall Thor Xbox 2 numbers. The fact that I could actually say that I'm getting those type of views, those live views, and be with those dudes who I look up to as content creators is freaking mind-blowing. So my whole point is, I'm sorry for being long-winded. Mrs. Boom says that it's what I do, right? For Wednesday's show, I found artwork with Spider-Man's back. Half of it is Spider-Man, half of it is Venom or the Symbionite. So that's not my artwork. I found it by just doing a general search, and the person that actually did the artwork, his name is not_Alish. I didn't know who he was. But what I did do is I went and did the research because his signature was on the artwork. And what did I do? Now, I'm not a professional, right? I'm just a podcaster. I do this for fun. I do this for the love of gaming in the community. I put his name, a photo used for thumbnail credit, put his name, where I found it, and his link to his Instagram page. Now, I don't know him, but I did use his artwork, and I gave him credit in the show notes as one is supposed to do. Dread, this, again, I'm not putting myself on a pedestal, folks. I did what was right. Not that big of a deal. That's what you're supposed to do. But seeing a conglomerate like IGN basically steal the artwork and have someone like Stein. Now, if you don't know who we're talking about, Stein, it's at Steinkin on Twitter. He is the senior social media manager for Xbox, he actually immediately responded when he saw it, and he said, "You'll know a quote tweet is easier than editing and watermarking an asset, right?" Well, it has nearly 200,000 impressions and nearly 6,000 likes. Uh, why didn't someone from IGN respond to him immediately with, "Hey, listen, we're going to pull it down. We apologize for this mistake"? They haven't done that yet, and that's why they're scumbags.
Okay. Am I still muted? All right. All right. So
You're good.
let's look at it. Let's look at it this way, right? You're a smaller YouTuber in size of the reality of YouTube.
Right.
You're really small. But then you look at the rest of us that are smaller, and you look at where we all came from, and grabbing an asset off the internet and using it in a thumbnail, it's not a big deal. Okay.
Right.
Now you're bigger than us, and you've developed more time and being able to be more and more professional and doing stuff like this and learning, right? This is what we do. When you first get in there, you learn, oh, this isn't the way to do it. We have to give props to the owner of these assets if you're going to do something like this, right? So you're going to do something like that, and now you're promoting that person that you borrowed the asset from, as well as not, we don't have access to the assets that these companies give these publications. All right. We talked to John Winters that does what was the game that I just Song of Iron, right? He gave us assets to everybody. I've gone through and looked at other companies to see if they provided media assets for them to use, so I could use those in my thumbnails, right? I try to do that also, and this is also, again, learning from others mistakes, learning, and practicing good practice skills, practice good ethics. You're doing all this stuff, even if it is an intern at IGN. Okay, so even if it is that, even if there is a person above them looking at it and approving everything, they all should know better. The intern should already know better. They've already, established themselves to be in there. You don't just, hey, I'm a YouTuber. I've only put out one video. IGN, will you hire me to do some artwork for you? No, it doesn't happen that way. You've put your foot in. You've got your time in. You've got your experience. You've got the knowledge. So even if it was an oversight, I mean, I literally went in, and when I saw that, it took me a while because I ended up crashing because it was just too late for me to stay awake. But I went in after, later on, copied literally IGN's whole tweets that they put their little pictures on, copied that whole thing, retweeted it with those comments that they put in there. So all that text was literally the same thing that IGN wrote. I literally copied them verbatim, but I quote tweeted it. And then I took that tweet and I said, here, let me provide a demonstration. And I put it on there underneath Stein's comment. And, and the funny thing is, the one that I literally copied IGN, and it's to literally demonstrate what they should have done. And that, I get already over 1,400 views, and I usually don't get that many views because I don't have controversial images or text that I put up there on Twitter to promote anything or talk about anything. So I don't do that. And for that, for me, it's like huge. Normally what I get is, just under 1,000, and I don't care, no biggie. The biggest one I had was some controversy that stemmed with a famous actor, and that one there was like 5,000. So you look at how small I am and the views that I get. Now imagine what IGN gets, and what it was, and that was the whole thing that Stein was
Dude, they bring
about.
in nearly $18 million a month or annually from YouTube. They're a big site, dude.
Right. So you imagine what they're getting and the views, as opposed to retweeting what Xbox has put out there and saying, hey, this is the whole image that Xbox put out there. Here you go. Here's this information. And instead, they literally took Solid Snake. They took that picture, and if you look at it, they literally, and I understand, you take that image, you redo it, and you put your information on there, but they totally took away the marketing of that image and made it their own, and completely negated everything that image was about that Xbox put out. So again, this is why, companies like this, when we first started, this is who we relied on. We relied on them to be ethical, and they're obviously not being ethical on all of this stuff. They're being shady. They're being two-faced.
Disgusting.
There's a lot of stuff that's going on that we can only assume. We don't know. We can only assume, and that's the problem. Is they're the same ones that brought us in here. We've been looking at PC Mag. We've been looking at IGN, we've been looking at Xbox and PlayStation. We've been looking at all these mags that go across. And obviously, you have a PlayStation mag, you expect it to be PlayStation eccentric. The Nintendo one is literally Nintendo specific, Xbox and Xbox specific. You look at these games, when they're third party, they go across, not third party, but cross platform. When they're when they open up to everything and anything, you expect them to be honest about the game, not the platform it's associated with. It doesn't matter what platform it's on. It's always been about the game. And over time, we've lost that. And it's obviously evident that we've lost that here also, because now it's on the internet. We're no longer subscribing to magazines or going to the stores and buying these magazines every month. Now it's what's here in the now. How fast can I get it out there? It would have been even faster had they done the route that I did. Just put the text
Just
on there,
tweet it, dude.
quote
Like,
tweet it
honestly,
away,
it's
done.
crazy.
You're done.
Yeah.
It would have been that much faster. And oh wait, it would have showed your good faith, because you wouldn't have altered it. And they could have done 2 of those tweets, one for Solid Snake, one for the Xbox, and that would have been double the views, double the information. You know what I mean? And again, double the honesty. But no, we're going to sit here and change up how we put it out there as if it's our own creation. If they would have recreated those games in their own little profile of an image, and photoshopped it all, no one would have a problem with it. The fact that they edited everything out that they didn't want in there and then put in their information, I mean, even we don't do that. We try to crop and everything for the stuff that we have access to. But come on now. That's just, again, it shows your deceptive practices. Oh,
Yep,
wait, it sounds
100%.
familiar. Wait, who does some deceptive practices? Let me think about that.
I don't know. Maybe Sony.
Oh my God, no way!
Ding, ding, ding,
They-
ding, ding, we
yeah,
got
bro,
it. Yes,
you got it. $5 for you, headed your way. But you see what I'm getting at is this is the whole thing. Is it's not that they did it. It's more that they knew better, and they, and it's, yeah, okay. It is the fact that they did it. It's also because they knew better, and it's the fact that there's so many steps before it gets pushed out that somebody had to have approved it. I'm sure if let's just say it's just the social media manager, and that's all, and nobody's above them, and they're the only ones doing it. Let's assume that. Okay, that's fine. I don't expect an apology from them. But I
do.
assume
They
that
should have
there would be.
immediately went out there and be like, "Hey, we're pulling a tweet.
Yeah.
The tweet is still available, folks. It's still up."
It's like I said, I don't expect it, but I assume that somebody would say, "Hey, we need to fix this
Yeah,
and make it better," and then maybe say, "Hey, look here, we're sorry. We did also requote the tweet, FYI, but we did put, we want to keep this up there." Whatever. I don't care. They're huge. They can do whatever they want. I'm just not going to give them the views. I'm not going to give them the stuff. And we've talked about this with YouTubers. We've talked about this with the toxic trolls on Twitter. We've talked about this with other areas that, all these people that are completely negative, that they take away and don't create anything positive or give you your value of what your view time. I don't care where it's from. If Twitter, if I'm scrolling through there and the value is not there for me, why am I going to give them view time?
Don't give
You know,
them
and if they're
nothing,
toxic
man.
trolls, you know, it doesn't matter which side of Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, I don't care. If I don't want to see that, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to give them that credit. And I'm, you know, how many times we see, hey, did you see what they did here? You know, well, that's supporting them. That's not ignoring them. You know, we got to ignore this and push the people that are doing the right thing. And that's in every aspect of life, not just magazines or articles or videos or even text that someone tweeted out. We got to do this in every aspect of life to make everything better. There's no way that we're going to get the proper information. I mean, look at all the rumors we saw that we're going to come and we're going to see, and we saw nothing. Look at all this information that's always misinformation. That's
Yep.
all we get all the time. And then after the fact, what if it's even addressed, right? Nobody looks at the new updates because they'll put it in a small section in their article on the website. Oh, it's been updated to be correcting this misinformation. They don't go out there and say, hey, so you know, here's the newest article with the proper information. We're taking away the old information, or you know, we're going to leave it there with the correction on there, but it's already been too late. Everything that was all said and done that was wrong is out there, and nobody's going to go back and look and say, oh, you know what, they lied or they had misinformation, and that's what they were spreading was the wrong information, and now here they are correcting it. No, everybody sticks with what they first see. This is what they first saw. This is created by IGN. No, it's not. You see, and that's the problem. And this is why it's good to see. I'm not saying that they need to be shady like that, but it's good to see they stand up for themselves and say, hey, look, you did us wrong. Hey, look, this is not right. They need to do that. And this is where we also need to step up and say, yes, you did this wrong. You need to do better.
Well, and we're going to start with that by talking about it live on the air, which as we're doing. I mean, great stuff as always, Dred. What can I say? You're a man of honor and integrity. This is something that's severely lacking at IGN, especially now that they haven't acknowledged their mistake 12 hours after it was done, or maybe even longer than that. Now it's a day. I said 12 hours is an entire day, and still the tweet is up. Dave, let's get your hot take on this, brother. This is once again, I mean, I don't think this has anything to do with media bias. I am going to tell you what is. Games Radar, scumbags of the universe as well, basically put out a tweet using the same artwork, except they did change it. They said, what a great looking group. And they have 12 pictures of Starfield as if that's the only thing releasing for Xbox this year. I mean, my God, what a bunch of D-bags. It is when Dave does the disingenuous media stop going after Xbox. Like they literally could cure cancer tomorrow, and someone would say you should have did that 3 years ago. It's amazing. But again, let's keep it to IGN because obviously you can't spell ignorant without IGN. Let's talk about this. I mean, again, the tweet is still up. No apology, no remorse whatsoever. They were called out by Xbox marketing, and you would think that they would have the decency to take it down and redo their own assets. They're a bunch of talentless pricks or talentless pricks at IGN. This proves it once again. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. It's truly a misstep. You know, intentional laziness. Understaffed. They don't have the covers that they used to have. They don't have the the following they used to have. It's definitely dropped off a lot. So that may be it. They were just kind of desperate to get something up in place right away, and then it was just, oh, this is easy. We'll just take this and use it. Should have known better for sure. It's not a good look for them. Will they ever apologize for it or rescind it? Probably not. They'll probably just wait for it to kind of just fade away because that's what they do. They just don't. They they don't really care. But that's, like I said, that's why their viewership is down. A lot of people, there's a few, people over there that I would say are pretty good. Um,
There's several. There's several.
yeah.
I mean, listen, not everyone at IGN is talentless. Let's call
Oh,
a
yes.
spade a
Yeah,
spade.
yeah.
There are plenty of incredible journalists over there. Unfortunately, they work there, and when you work under someone that's considered to be, unapologetic, unprofessional, ignorant at times, you get roped in. But understand that not every journalist there is bad. You happen to know one of them specifically. She's amazing, but unfortunately, IGN. When you work under an entity like them, you get roped in.
Guilty by association.
Guilt by association, indeed.
Well, I mean, even like some independent writers that work for him, like Miles Dompierre.
Miles, amazing.
Absolutely
Travis
amazing.
Ty guy, amazing.
Yeah. Great guys.
So
great guys.
So but again, that's not what they do. They're story writers and things. They don't put out this marketing tweet for the for their site, and it's it's a misstep. It definitely looks bad on them, and I there's no way around it other than they can just go in and fix it, and oops, maybe kind of thing or something like that. It is kind of it's still up, and they haven't either corrected it or taken it down, or at least hey, our bad, we were under deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Most people let it go, but to just leave it up and just act like it never happened, and it's not there, and eventually it'll still go away. That just shows what they're about. Really, and like I said, this is not everybody that works there. There's a lot of good things that do come from them, but how it changes really is the day that Microsoft / Xbox becomes the market leader in the gaming industry, or at least second place, heading on the heels. That's when Microsoft will get more respect from them, because they'll be like, ooh, more people are spending money on them. We need to have stories and articles that favor them, so that people will come to our site.
They'll bend the knee eventually, sir. Yes.
Exactly. So, but until that day, I don't look for them to to fix their ills. Unfortunately.
Yeah. It is unfortunate. Fuzzy, let's bring you in on the hot conversation as we close on 700 people here. Holy matrimony. Listen, I can't thank you enough, and I have to ask, because I tell you, Randall Thor, I love him. He's been a good mentor. He yells at me whenever he gets an opportunity, whenever we talk. He says, Boom, you're still not asking for people to hit the like button and subscribe. So I'm going to do it under the tutelage of Mr. Master himself, Randall Thor 19, which is closing in on 100,000 subs. Well-deserved work that they do over at the Xbox 2 with himself and obviously Jez Corden of Windows Central. But listen, before I get to you, I'm still catching up on Super Chats, and of course, we had one from JD Gamer. Actually, I had quite a few of them from JD Gamer. He says, based on this info, Boom, if I were a tech company, any company, if I had the ability to leave the UK, I'd be running out the market as fast as possible. And a lot of people are. They've actually had 600 businesses leave the UK. Not so much since the merger block, but in recent times, they've had over 600 businesses leave the UK because they can't do business there. And the EU yesterday, I don't know if you've seen Eppinger's speech. Apparently, I didn't get to watch all of it, but she kind of threw the and this is the head of the EU Commission, kind of threw the UK under the bus, and rightfully so. But we also have Jacob Novick says, Tim Dog, just after dropping a $5 super chat, Tim Dog just tweeted this. I'm tired. I tried returning to my PlayStation 5 and was slapped in the face and told, go out to the store. Tim Dog was making trouble. JD Gamer drops an additional $5 super chat and says, this kind of nonsense isn't going to just hurt their tech industry. No businesses will want to be in an unstable and unpredictable market. Third world crap. Indeed. J-Rock, what's going on, brother? I think he's probably in the chat right now. J-Rock, love what you do on Twitter. You're so scandalous. It's what's not to like about it. He drops a $2 super chat and says, get the man a power cord. We need to hear this tea. And of course, that's what wound up happening. Florian was talking for so much that his PC died live on the air. He had to run and get a power cord, and he came back for another hour, which was awesome. JD Gamer dropped an additional $15 in super chats. The first one of $10 says, the fact that the CMA blocked the deal, then got word Microsoft would close over them, so they then added that neither Microsoft or ABK or any affiliates could buy an interest in each other's company, making it illegal to do so. Yeah, that's just straight up dirty. And he goes, it sounds like the CMA already had their minds made up to block when the FTC decided to block, and then just started looking for reasons. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Again, I can't specifically say who I heard it from, but obviously Post Up heard the same thing. He spoke to a couple of people where the conversation, folks, and this is real. This isn't made up of nonsense. The conversation with the CMA and Microsoft's Brad Smith and Activision's Bobby Kotick were that they were going to pass this deal. Okay. And then they went dark for about 10 days, a little over a little under 2 weeks. And they were broadsided by this block. This 10-day blackout period that they're referring to is specifically when Lena Khan met with the head of the CMA. That's where the collusion comes into play. And I think ultimately Lena Khan should be impeached. And I don't know what it is in the UK, but if the head of the CMA did collude, she should lose her position as well. And I don't say that lightly, folks, because no one ever wants to see someone go to jail. And no one wants to see everyone lose their job. But if you did illegal shit to block this deal, you should pay you should suffer the consequences. Fuzzy, let's get back to IGN's unsurprising shenanigans. Let's get your hot take on this.
Yeah, I mean, leave it to IGN to pull one of these types of deals and then, act like they didn't do anything wrong or just ignore, the backlash they're getting. I mean, I used to do content management for my the company I used to work for as far as the website. And one of the things that we used to take pride in, like, even though we would get assets from our suppliers, the manufacturers of some of the products we would distribute, a lot of items we would either take photos of ourselves or we would, manipulate the items, not necessarily putting a full-on watermark, but our site had the disclaimer about the embedded watermark. Anything that we manipulated in Photoshop, like let's say we added something to the picture or made some sort of adjustment or grouped things together like a set of wheels, let's say, and then another website would steal that, and we would see it online, like in like an eBay store or something like that. We always had our lawyer on call where it's like, okay, here's a copy of the link, here's a copy of the images, give them a cease and desist call. And I almost wish that, Microsoft could do something along those lines. Maybe IGN would think better of doing stupidness like this in the future. But it just boggles my mind where you're going to take something, not necessarily give the credit in the context of what it was about, just to show more stuff about the Sony showcase itself, as opposed to, okay, these games are coming to everything, and what was left at the PlayStation showcase. Like if they had worded it more along those lines, then maybe it would slide. Maybe say image provided by Xbox or something credit. Just the smallest of a tribute to where the original source material is given would be the bare minimum that should be understood or at least done to a standard. But no, it's IGN. They rather besmirch this Xbox in general. If they could make Sony feel a little less bad about their terrible showcase, they're going to find a way to do it. And if they could not necessarily take a shortcut, but that's basically what it was. It was a shortcut for them to kind of put things together. And in all honesty, they would have been better off, since they already get some of the trailers from the publishers and things like that. It would have been better for them to just go to Sony's YouTube and just take a screen cap or something like that and be done with it. But no, it's, I don't know. It just boggles my mind that, you know, a company of their standing stoops to that. But then again, weren't they the ones that some of their writers were stealing game reviews from
Indeed.
other
Yeah.
places?
That actually happened. I don't remember the indie game that they reviewed, but and again, I got roped into it because the original review came from Boomstick Gaming, which that dude is effing awesome, right?
Yeah.
He did an incredible review. No affiliation. This is Double Barrel Gaming. No affiliation with Boomstick Gaming, but I'm subscribed to his channel. It's actually a really good dude. He did a review, and the review was then taken by IGN, one of their reviewers. I think he wasn't a senior reviewer, but it doesn't matter. He's representing the brand. He literally stole the review. It's just gross. Yeah, more stuff, more IGN nonsense.
Yeah. Hopefully they learn from this and take the same actions where they release whoever is involved in that matter. I mean, or relocate them to something less detrimental that could hurt their brand. I mean, their brand is a bit damaged as it is, but if they're going to have somebody in that position doing stuff like that, they should probably reconsider, you know, having that person have access to their social media account. At least that.
Yeah. No. I again, the problem is this, Fuzzy. No matter what position you are in the world, I don't care if you are a police officer. I don't care if you are a nurse. I don't care if you are a writer for IGN. These things, certain decisions are supervised for the point that you have to make sure that if you're representing a particular brand, the NYPD, Jacoby Hospital in the Bronx, or IGN, doesn't matter. You're representing the brand. If you have that kind of responsibility to represent the brand in the most proper manner and forward-facing manner as possible, the ideology is you do this with good intent and integrity. That's what you're supposed to do. You put your best foot forward. They didn't do that here. And someone, Fuzzy, a supervisor who approved this, is ultimately one that dropped the ball.
Agreed. Definitely. I mean, there's always a checks and balance within a company like that and management. Just let this one slip by and still hasn't corrected the issue. But I'd be curious to see what since there's a holiday Monday, I'm curious to see if there's a Tuesday meeting about this, because there was definitely one of those types of meetings after that stolen review deal. So maybe there'll be a Tuesday timeout type of thing.
Well, listen, they need to address it. End of story. But Fuzzy, I'm going to stick with you because we got to move on to the PlayStation Showcase aftermath and whether or not games as a service known as G.A.A.S games is Jim Ryan's new direction for PlayStation. Because, well, folks, we know that you, PlayStation gamers, are not enough because you're not buying their first party, which surprises me. Why Jim Ryan be like, we're doubling down on console and we're going to skip PC. It's going to be sporadic and tough titty. No, they instead of doing day and date releases on PC, which would be magnificent for all of our PC MR brothers and sisters out there, they're going to stagnate the releases. So Spider-Man 2, even though it's going to be big on PlayStation 5 and it's going to be big, would have been even bigger if PC was involved and no PC release. Well, listen, I'm not the bean counter for Sony. They are the market leaders. They are making money on their consoles left, right, and center. So what do I know, right? But we got to get to this showcase because, folks, this, in my opinion, and I want to shout out Slow-Mo Backslap of the Damage Per Second podcast. He's an amazing community member. Put a tweet out right after the show finished, and he said the show was an F and it would have stayed an F if it wasn't for Spider-Man 2. He gave it a D, and I agree with him. My rating is a D, and I don't want to say it's for dog poop, but it pretty much was for. I'm a Sony first party fan, right?
Mhm.
You guys and gals, you know that. I own a PlayStation 5 because I really do love their studios. I hate Sony,
Mhm.
and I have a tremendous distaste for Jim Ryan, but I like Corey Barlog and several of their other representatives that make their games. Insomniac, one of my favorite studios. Sony Santa Monica, one of my favorite studios. So I tune in for first party because their first party, whether you agree or not, is dynamite. Right? Very rarely do they let us down on console. They've made some boo-boos with PC, but on console, very rarely do they let us down. If they've had some hiccups, Gran Turismo 7 being one of them,
Mhm.
Horizon Forbidden West, had a bunch of bugs, but for the most part, that's why I tune in. So I obviously looked at Spider-Man. I was like, holy crap, this is going to be an epic 50-hour adventure for Boom. But
Yeah.
after that, the G.A.A.S games that they showed, first of all, the for me, folks, and I'm being completely fair and honest here, the most disappointing showing was from Jade Raymond Studio. She has a pedigree that's as long as my arm, and whether you agree or disagree, I hold her in high regards. I was expecting her first game to be this graphical, story-driven masterclass achievement in many of the titles that she's worked on in the past. And what do we get? What do we open the show with? A CG trailer, which apparently, if it's Xbox, it's bad, but it's a what appeared to be a ripoff of a three-player Apex Legends meets Payday.
Mhm.
Yikes.
Or what contraband might be.
Or what Contraband actually might be, but Contraband's going to have vehicles, so whatever. But I let's talk about it. I mean, it wasn't a good show, man. It was a poor showing for for a platform
Mhm.
that's held into these very, very lofty high regards and has been absent from the showcase scene for 600 plus days, Fuzzy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everyone, and I mean everyone, Kind of Funny, IGN, Gameloft, you name it. Sony, all Sony has to do is basically show up and they won the world. And they showed up all right, except they took a dump live on air. Let's talk about it.
All right. So I gave it a C overall, and I'll explain why. Because the fundamentals of the showcase weren't that bad. I mean, if it was a Summerfest, or type of showcase, it wouldn't be so bad. Being that it's a Sony showcase, yeah, that's where my critiques will come in. But they showed 33 games in about an hour's time. That in itself is pretty good. They kept Jim Ryan's face off of there for a majority of it. He talked a little in the beginning and talked a little bit at the end. We're not going to discuss the crazy stuff that he showed when he came up there, but they at least went through 33 games now, of which almost 20 of them are going to be multi-plat elsewhere, not just like multi-plat like PS5 and PC, like multi-plat on every platform, kind of multi-plat. Some of them were, shown again, like some of the PSVR Synapse was shown last time when the PSVR 2 came out. Not my cup of tea, but starting off with Fair Game, I thought, like you were saying, it's like, for me, I thought Payday and Rogue Company thrown together in one.
Good.
CGI trailer.
That's even better than my version of it. Yeah.
It was like CGI. People always change how they feel about CGI. I look at it as, if the game is far enough away, CGI is fine. So this is a game that's probably 3 or 4 years out. So not too bummed on the CGI, but I better not hear anybody say anything bad about Xbox doing a CGI trailer on a game that might be more than 2 years out. Starship Troopers, the game, yeah, that wasn't so bad. Some people even point out a better reference where it was like what was that dinosaur game? Second Extinction.
So,
Yes.
yes, yeah. I actually reviewed that. I actually interviewed the developer. I quite enjoyed that game.
Yeah, I mean the Helldivers 2 didn't look bad. It's not what I would consider a normal Sony caliber, first. Well, it's not first party, but it's one of those G.A.A.S games that I think that they are including in that count, kind of like with the Deviation and a few other studios that they've been working with. So it didn't look bad, but it's not what Sony's known for. And then they showed an EA game, which it's on their stage. I got to see some more of it. We already saw a good bit of it from EA anyway during, I forget what showcase or something that was shown before where that game was unveiled. So it was nice to see that game. I'm going to buy it on my Xbox, but made a nice appearance. Ghost Runner 2, also nice game. Probably pick it up on Xbox. To me, the star of the show that wasn't a first party was Phantom Blade.
Oh, dude, that game is a day. I don't care if it's exclusive or not. That game looked freaking bonkers good.
Yeah. Now, it will be available. They did make mention, PS5 and PC, day and date. So apparently, third party are getting smarter about not avoiding PC on day and date. But that game looks pretty cool, although I'm starting to hear some weird things in the background as far as its development. Like it was like in development hell since 2017, and it's based off of a mobile game this is a prequel to the mobile game. So as we get closer to that game's release, I definitely want to keep an eye out for it. Then there were some indies, some more multiplats. Like Neva was one that kind of caught my eye. Now it doesn't look anything like Everwild, but it kind of got that Everwild vibe where you got nature and these creatures and things, and then you're having to fight like this darkness or corruption in the forest kind of thing. So I'm kind of looking forward to that indie. Then let's point out Cat Quest. That looked more like a mobile game put on a console. I don't want to knock it, but multiplat, I probably won't pick it up. Same thing with the Plucky Squire. Yeah, it looks kind of cool, but not my game. But one that I thought was funny was Foam Stars.
You mean the one that ripped off Splatoon with Bubbles?
Like that is it. It's Splatoon with Bubbles. It's like the Champagne Room for Splatoon. So it's like the adult version of Splatoon. I don't know. That just doesn't look like Square. Like maybe Square should reconsider what they're doing, because they seem like they're lost. I mean, Square is doing what looks to be a great job with Final Fantasy 16, but I'm not as interested. I'm not even interested in that one.
I won't buy it because I won't support Square. Square Enix is, I mean, forget the fact that they're not supporting Xbox, but it's the real life stuff.
Yeah.
That I can't subscribe to. Unfortunately, their behavior when it comes to certain races and creeds, it's just disheartening. It's disappointing. It's disgusting at best. I cannot support Square Enix, especially when asked why there are no African American people or representation in their games. And their developers say egregious things. No one calls them to the carpet for it. So I refuse. If you don't know, my brother's African American. So when I hear that kind of stuff, besides being a conscious human being who loves everyone, I can't support that.
Yeah, and was it Dragon's Dogma 2? Seems like the better alternative anyway, and that's multi.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid, rumors were true. The insiders got something right. But yeah, that was there. Towers of Agaspa. What are they trying to do? Zelda Tears of the Kingdom for PlayStation now? That totally gave me Zelda vibes the minute I saw it. Alan Wake 2, also excited for that, but like I said, probably buying on Xbox. Assassin's Creed Mirage, excited for that. Also buying on Xbox. That one I'm hoping Ubisoft actually releases it, because they look like they've been scared to release games as of late. Street Fighter 6, also another multiplat. Excited for the game, picking it up on Xbox. Ultros, which was like an indie game, kind of colorful, looks kind of like a roguelike possibly, kind of interested in it. hoping it at least comes to PC or maybe the Xbox as well. No word yet if it's multi-plat or not. I don't care about Five Nights at Freddy's. The only thing from VR that stood out for me was Arizona Sunshine 2, where Fred the zombie, or he sees Fred as all the zombies kind of thing. That was kind of funny. The Crossfire Sierra Squad. I didn't do any research on this, but I'm wondering if that's Crossfire, the same people that made Crossfire X.
Crossfire X. It's just a why. I don't know.
Beat Saber. Hey, yeah. That's already on Oculus, and it's been on Oculus for what feels like a decade now.
Here's my question that they didn't answer. I bought Beats. I have it for Oculus. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I bought it on PlayStation VR 1. Mm-hmm. Does my digital sale carry over, or do I have to buy it again? That's why I didn't buy PlayStation VR 2.0.
I'm almost 100% certain you'd have to buy it again, because I don't think they're going to. They say it's up to the developer, and I don't think Beat Saber is going to be like, yeah, we'll give you another copy. I think that'd be for PlayStation to say, hey, we'll cover that copy.
Isn't that DLC anyway? Beat Saber and Queen is DLC. So if you have
the Queen DLC
for the PSVR 2, you could get it as DLC. But if you have it for the PSVR original, you're screwed.
Yeah. So that whole upgrade or backwards compatibility is something that they really need to get situated. Another star in the show for me, and one that I actually predicted because of rumors I heard a while back, was Marathon, the extraction PvP shooter. Looked kind of cool, but it was concept art. But Bungie, they don't really miss. I mean, yeah, they're having some difficulty with their DLC stuff for Destiny right now. Some of the stuff is a little out of sorts, but yeah, the colorfulness of Marathon looked pretty cool. So I'm going to keep an eye out for it. Probably play it on Xbox or maybe even on PC. Destiny 2 DLC also on Xbox. One of their first-party studios, one of the few first-party studio appearances other than Haven and Bungie, was Firewalk, and Concord, or just Concord, whatever that game was. I don't know what it is. Is it like an Apex Legends in space? Is it a burger delivery, like fast food delivery in space game? I don't know. Like, I wish I knew.
That burger was kind of jiggly, though. I gotta admit. Did it get anyone else hungry? I don't know.
Hey, I was about to make a break of bread with Dredge on that one.
There you go.
Right on that
looks
shit.
Amazing. That's what they're gonna say. It looks amazing.
And then the I guess the true star of the show, the only thing that made, for at least for me, in the short term of what I'm buying for my PlayStation, was Spider-Man 2. That was about the only thing that made it a C. Like, I have to say, there were a bunch of things that, the insiders that never get anything right try to predict. They got, I guess if you guess things enough, like the Metal Gear stuff, eventually you get stuff right. But I'm not going to curse, but I'm going to say, where the F is factions? Like,
yes, yeah. Where?
Like, does it exist?
Here's my question to you. Folks, I understand that I might be in the lower half of being a SOCOM fan back in the PlayStation 2 days. And I get it if you're not a fan. Hell, you may not even be old enough to remember. But if there is a one IP that deserves a gas game treatment, it's SOCOM. It could, if done by the correct studio, it could literally give Call of Duty a run for its money, right? Third person, it's squad based, it's SOCOM. It's a legendary IP for PlayStation. How the F wasn't that there? How is the bubble game, the Splatoon ripoff game, or the Apex Legends meets Payday ripoff game from Haven, the game that you put out there for us to take a look at, and SOCOM and factions nowhere to be found? That to me is freaking bonkers.
Yeah, there was just some like weird missing links in the show. Like, On hardware, I'm not even going to talk about that Wii U or PS5U thing that was there, or the earbuds. Like, I already have the headset from PlayStation. The earbuds, I I don't I don't understand. Like, it's great if they want to expand into, hey, you put the earbuds in while you're playing games, and then if you're going to do your morning jog, you can keep those in with your phone, and that's great. But that's not what I expect from PlayStation. I was expecting to see the PS5 Slim or something like that. We've already heard leaks of the detachable disk drive, so where is it? Especially if it's supposed to be coming out, around this holiday. I'm completely boggled on where's an Astrobot PSVR 2 game. Like, they went through all that trouble with the DualSense, and Astrobot is always kind of like that go-to for their new hardware to show like every bit of the features you could squeeze out of it. Astrobot is that tool that they use, and I would have assumed that Astrobot PSVR 2 game would be in the works, but it doesn't. I guess it's not. Death Stranding 2, we know it's out there. Norman Reedus said so like a year and a half ago or so. So I don't know where that was. Twisted Metal, like, all right, I have to say this. Okay, so they showed Gran Turismo, the movie trailer.
The movie trailer, right?
I wouldn't mind, like, I do understand it was a game showcase, but I wouldn't mind seeing the movie trailer if, along with that, they announced one of a couple of things. DLC for Gran Turismo. I mean, yes, they released some new cars that aren't in the movie, but there are some cars that will probably be in the movie that aren't in the game. So why not just have, hey, and today you can download these cars from the game or from the movie in the game? That would make sense to have at a game showcase. None of this TV business in 2023.
You know what? 10 years to almost to the day, they gave Xbox a lot of TV, and rightfully so. They deserved it. But the TV thing, it's
so now it's movie. No, but the other thing that kind of boggles my mind is that GT7 has been out for over a year and a half. Its player base is dwindling. It's starting to get better updates, but we haven't gotten any tracks in a while. I think the last track was Road Atlanta. We're still waiting on a lot of events for some of the tracks, as far as like the not the online stuff, but like the offline stuff against AI. Why aren't they putting it on PC? Like, full slate, it's over a year. I mean, if you want more of that sim racer fan base, a lot of them have those $3,000 to $5,000, some even $10,000 rigs with a motion chair and steering and direct drive wheel and all that. Put it on PC. Like, what are you doing? Like, you don't have the ray tracing on track like your competition is about to do in a couple of weeks, but most of those rigs can do it on the PC side of things. Put it on PC. Why do you not like money? Like, I don't get it.
No, I mean, you make a tremendous amount of fantastic points, but I do got to bring in Crispy Bomb, who is going to do what he does best. Crispy, look, I think ultimately the issue at hand, because I've heard from other people, as a game show, it's not bad. I've heard a lot of people defending this. Now, Kay Asante comes up in an incredible point. And he does make some again, finite points. If you are, let's say, not in the trenches, as he said, as we all are, like, 800, nearly 800 people here, we're in the trenches, right? We're in it. We know all the finite details. So for us, it's a disappointment. Now, if you're just a normie and you actually watch these shows, maybe you're just a bit above a norm, like casual gamer. Maybe you're not hardcore. Maybe you're not casual. Maybe you're just kind of in the middle. You have an idea that PlayStation has these incredible exclusives, and you look at the show and you're like, wow, this is actually a really good show. I like that Alan Wake game. I like, Metal Gear. I remember that from back in the days. Oh, I'm getting that. So maybe it's a good show for them. But I'm here to talk about this from a hardcore mentality. And I have seen some hardcore sites I saw someone gave it. They said it was near perfect show. I don't remember who I was. I was listening to some podcast. I don't remember. I listened to so many and said that it was a near perfect show. As a matter of fact, I talk about kind of funny. I love Greg Miller. I think he's amazing. I love the X-Cast. But I was watching their post show impressions and something Cortez, and I like that dude. But he went and said something that I just stopped the podcast. He's like, if this was the state of play, give it a 4 out of 5. I'm sorry, what? Like, even if you are a hardcore Sony fan, how do you give this, even if it's a state of play, a 4 out of 5? Because of Spider-Man? Spider-Man looked amazing, no pun intended. But you're there for the first party.
Well, I mean, the state of play
Crispy.
thought process is like, I mean, there was 30 plus games there. You know what I'm saying? So it's not. I mean, people bring up state of play like that. That wouldn't happen. It would be like Spider-Man and like a few,
and 2
like,
or 3
fillers.
other games.
It would be, and that's what they really should have done. To be honest with you, I look at the lineup. I've taken my notes. Fuzzy kind of ran down what I basically feel as well. And so,
I mean, go crazy. This is a conversational podcast, so give us your hot and low takes.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. First of all, this reminded me of the Xbox third-party showcase. Remember that?
I do. That? Yes.
The one difference is that Game Pass was involved in that, was it not? Like a lot of them.
Yeah.
If Sony said, "Hey, look, this is our PlayStation showcase. It's going to have a lot of indies and third-party devs as well. Basically, our third-party indie showcase." I would give it an 8 of 10. I would. Okay, because you've laid out the expectation, and this is what it is. And we have given Xbox flack for not laying out the expectation. And I'm going to do the same for Sony right now because they called this their PlayStation showcase after 2 freaking years. This is not a state of play. And this is where I agree with some of the Sony guys that are going crazy, like pissed off. You know what I'm saying? You look at, I'd say half the games, they're on PS5 and PC. You look at, like you could say Phantom Blade. Okay, well, Fuzzy just kind of laid out, like, there are questions. Now, even Bungie, both games, it said not gameplay on both of them.
Yeah.
So how far along is this? Alan Wake 2. Remedy's got to bring themselves back up. They have not, you're gonna use some Sony money, okay. Obviously, it's going to come to us as well at some point. Epic Games is the publisher, by the way, so it's going to happen. Some people are going to be really intrigued into it. Some people aren't. At the end of the day, we look at, Assassin's Creed. I mean, you got pole vaulting. Whoop-de-doo. They're getting a little more into the RPG elements. I mean, Ubisoft, can you give us something, dude? I mean, I'm looking at like Street Fighter 6. I mean, for fighting games, like I was expecting more fighting games. All you did was like show us what some people have already played. Really. I mean, shoot, like the Dragon's Dogma. I've heard about this game for a while. Like a while. The VR games, I mean, for me, like, I at least thought they looked better than what I've seen from VR games. So I'll give them that. I don't know. I don't know how true they're going to look on the actual headset. The Concord thing, and I'm with Fuzzy. I have no clue what it is. And then, I mean, Jim, get somebody else to talk, dude. I mean, Project Q and earbuds. I mean, what are we talking about here? And then it says design specs subject to change right on the bottom. Like, So what do you mean? You're gonna throw a cheaper version out there? I don't even know what you mean at this point. And we come from a generation where Sony, as far as like microphones and headsets and whatever else, at one point were like the cream of the crop. Like, you're acting like these earbuds should only be on PlayStation and that's it. Like, why not use them throughout all? Why not just say that? Like, you're going to PC with some of these games. I mean, the Haven thing, I mean, what a disappointment. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, it was my biggest disappointment of the whole show.
Terrible.
Terrible.
It's going to PC. So guess what? It's multi-plat as far as these clowns are concerned. I'm sorry. Like, because they said it so many times. I have so many damn screenshots. Oh, it's coming on PC. It's multi-plat. Well, guess what? You got half your games on multi-plat now. So what you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Crispy with the receipts Haven, just waiting to drop.
Dude, well, and that's why nobody comes at me, because they know I got them. Because you know what? I'll screenshot tweets, because guess what? It's public knowledge. All right. I don't screenshot, and then crop things like IGN does. You know what I'm saying? That it's actual, like, proprietary, that somebody actually did some actual work to make that. Okay. But you look at it and then you go right with Jim, who half the people don't even know what the heck PlayStation is now after the showcase. You have done things like Helldivers, like rip off. Okay. Starship Troopers, rip off. Second Extinction, rip off. That's what that is. I mean, you look at half these games and it literally, like, I have just combat magic and cutting stuff. I have whatever game that was that looked like it was a ripoff of Ghostwire Tokyo. Like, where is the originality, PlayStation? You used to be like that. Because I'm going to tell you right now.
That you're talking about the weird PlayStation. Yeah.
They used to come out with things that were incredible. And the sad thing is, and you brought up SOCOM, it's like, dude, it's there for the taking. I mean, literally, like, the Navy SEALs in America, if you want to go after American public, the Navy SEALs are what we look to. They took down bin Laden. They did all of these things. You could do something with SOCOM with that. And the worst part is SOCOM 4 got destroyed because PSN went down for a month. Does everybody remember that?
Yeah.
It literally, after it launched, it went down for a whole month. And then they killed the franchise, from what I see. I mean, everybody's like, Wolverine's going to be there. Nope. This and that. I mean, my highlight is Spider-Man. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not going to buy a PlayStation just for that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they said. This is a first-party showcase from what they said, PlayStation Showcase. And you gave us second, third-party, and indies for the majority of the time. It is unacceptable. Okay? They get a 5 of 10 because I'm thinking about the third and second-party stuff that I'm going to be getting. But I would give it worse if this was an Xbox showcase. Okay? At least Xbox will say this is a second party or indie or third party showcase. They did that and they got flack for it. Remember? Mm-hmm. Well, this is exactly what this is. And I wrote all these damn notes down for nothing. Because at the end of the day, I'm interested in like 3 games out of the 30.
That's terrible, dude.
And don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here trashing the fact that, there's games that, feel like Everwild and stuff like that. Like, if that's your jam, that's fine. The Cat Quest game, like, that's cute. You know what I mean? My girlfriend might play it. You know what I'm saying? But it does look like a mobile game. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get but you have pivoted it so far. I mean, unless you come up with a showcase at the end of the year, Sony, you're going to have problems. Because I think June 11th, Xbox is going to double down on first party for once in their life. Yes, there's going to be some third party, marketing deals. That's what I want. I want some of that too. But also they're going to be honest and they're going to be like, hey, it's coming out for PlayStation 2, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because they're at the point where like PlayStation keeps hiding it. Like they literally did. Like some of them, when you watch the show, you think it's only for PlayStation. Or sometimes they'd be like, well, maybe that developer was like, no, you got to say it's coming to PlayStation. And that's what like there were so many convoluted little like fine print things that I took so many notes and I'm like, what are you guys doing? Are you making games for your actual console? Or have you finally seen the light? But here's the problem. You don't have Game Pass to fall back on. You do not. You have we saw those numbers, like a week ago, and they're trying to like convolute like, okay, well, Xbox Live and this, well, PSN and this. And it's just like, dude, like now we're just beating around a bush here. Like the only thing that we love about Xbox as far as what they put in games is that they put them in Game Pass day and date. And they don't do, if they said day and date in PlayStation, you know what I'm saying? If they said that's it, like that's what it's going to be, these games are all going to be, or the majority of them, day and date PS Now or whatever you want to call it at this point. They, even if you pay the $18 and you get some of these games in there, they did none of that. They give you zero value. You're going to have to pay full price for all these games as of now because they won't say it. And that's the problem. There is a difference. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I look at them and I feel like they're reeling. I feel like they don't know what to do because don't get me wrong. What they did here makes sense, but not for their own showcase. Maybe a state of play or something like some of these games, like Spider-Man should just been the state of play.
It
like
probably
we never
should have been.
Did we ever hate? Did we ever hate on those state of plays or like Ghost of Tsushima, like all these other games that have that state of plays for themselves? God of War. So we didn't hate on it because it made sense. It's a smaller thing. But like this literally here was a third party, an indie showcase with Spider-Man in there and a few games that are technically indies as of now or AA in there that are exclusive. I mean, what else are we talking about? So like if Microsoft comes out and says, okay, well, we've already shown you half the stuff. Here's Hellblade 2, Contraband, Avowed, this, that. Oh, wait, they're all exclusive. Oh, they're all in Game Pass. What do you think is going to happen on June 11th? If Microsoft's smart, put the boot to the neck. Let's go, Phil. Come on now.
Well, what should happen, Crispy, is all of the games that were shown for 2020, right? We know that's probably one of my favorite Xbox shows of all time. If they bring actual gameplay, not CG trailers, actual in-game assets being shown on the screen, it is going to be a bloodbath. Because that's what we are expecting. That is what we want. Maybe everything is not going to release this year. We know what's coming this year.
Didn't you?
You give us a final.
Didn't you feel like they just like ignored like every like I hear the Sony fans? Oh, you got to show gameplay. Okay, like you saw Spider-Man 2, like true gameplay. Other than that, I question half the stuff. And then when they're putting disclaimer, not actual gameplay, not actual gameplay, not actual gameplay. Running on PC. Like, I respect that you're telling us, but aren't you like the ones that give us gameplay all the time? I don't know. I'm with you, Boom. Like, Microsoft's got to come out there, like literally, like have like a community member, a part of that game or that genre or something. Come out there with the controller in hand and the Xbox sitting there, shut it off, turn it back on, and say, now I'm playing the game. And I'll tell you right now, they do that once, they're going to, whatever they do after is going to be fine. Do that once right in front of the whole crowd and everything else. All the people that are, by the way, going to be watching in movie theaters. Okay.
Yeah.
And just say, this is what we're doing. and we are not going to throw shade at you anymore. And
Yep.
if Xbox does that in a couple weeks, people are going to lose their minds, because I
Yeah.
know with UE5 and the way they treat that, I'm telling you, there's going to be some incredible things you see, and that's all I'm going to leave it at.
Yeah, dude, I'm so excited, and yeah, shout out to a couple of people, and I believe it was Brett Bingham. Folks, I'm a little out of sorts. I've been battling a migraine for now 48 hours. So if I'm a little out of sorts and I'm off camera, it's because I'm just trying to push on through. But listen, before we bring in Web Dave, before we bring in, of course, Dreadpool, the super chats. My God, I cannot thank you enough. I'm going to catch up with all of them. Gerald Mack starts us off with an outstanding $10 super chat and says Sony is in a gas game transition, which they have to be careful and tactful because the Sony fan base is truly fragile. Shout out to Double Barrel Gaming. Salute to Mr. Boomstick and panel. Brother, thank you so much. Salute out to you for the generosity, but for always being here. Brett Bingham drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, Darth Phil has entered the chat. I love it. We also have Galvestron, who drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, one more thing. Welcome to the family, ABK. That would be bonkers. We also have Brett Bingham drops an additional $10 super chat and says, I too, like Fuzzy, believe that Forza Motorsport is looking more like a shadow drop. Dude, that would be freaking crazy if that happened. He says they are starting to open the floodgates with info this week that G looked like a 6. Indeed, it did. Brett Bingham drops an additional $5 super chat and says someone should start a parody gaming news outlet like The Onion and label it Ignorant Gaming News. Oh, that would be great. And just report IGN articles with modded headlines. Clowns. Yeah, dude, that's great. Raiden Blade drops an additional drops a £5 super chat and says things to point out. For the last 3 years, Jim Ryan has been living off of Sean Layden's hard work. This going forward is the future of SIE. So PlayStation, what up? Yeah, indeed. He drops an additional very generous £5 super chat and says, let's point this out also. CMA had made a ruling that ABK and Microsoft were not allowed to do any business for 10 years. Why? Because they know ABK exile SIE. I mean, that's possible for sure. Hey, Dean Rivera, what's going on, Dean? Welcome to the program, and thank you for the very generous $10 super chat. And says, after the PlayStation showcase, the IGN panel on YouTube were seriously saying it was a fantastic show. They even said their poll had people saying it was an S tier. There's just no way that could be true. You know what? Again, IGN is in the pocket of PlayStation. That's just what they do, and that's who they are. Instead of being a conglomerate that reports all news and supports all, this is why if I was Xbox, I would literally give the head of the IGN the middle finger and be like, you know what? When you are going to support us in a proper manner, come knocking at the door. Until then, go F yourselves. I don't think that they need IGN. I just don't think that they do. IGN is big, but there are others. You know who I like? Team up with VGC. Now, granted, a couple months ago, they got it wrong. That's fine. We all get it wrong. They get out there and they put themselves in front of the arrows and they take it and they move on. Team up with VGC. Bring them up to IGN level Xbox. That's who you team up with. You don't team up with IGN because at every given point, they shank you. At every chance, they shank you. And they just stole your marketing assets. I would not give IGN the time of day, folks. Let's see, we got Raiden Blade drops an additional 3 super chats of £5 apiece. Brother, thank you so much for the generosity. He says, so at the announcement of the block, CMA is still trying to protect SIE. If Cat takes that into account, cloud companies backing the deal is done. Yeah, Cat could legitimately, we heard that from Florian yesterday, they could legitimately find fault in the CMA and not send it back to them. He drops an additional £5 super chat that says, I wish I was in the room with the CMA as I have a great question for them. Give name, date, month, year, and decade as to when the next meteor will kill us. Oh, my goodness. Another super chat comes in the way of Blade of £5. He says, Xbox marketing just put SIE in an Xbox. So watch how much smaller their showcase becomes, because my Xbox will continue to expose them every time Darkfield rises. Yeah, indeed. Black Sausage, what's going on, brother? He drops a $5 super chat and says, good morning, Boom. Have you seen the overwhelming damage control that the submarine screen door of a showcase? Yeah, apparently they held back. Yeah, I saw a couple of reports on that, folks. Listen, let me tell you something. Don't believe the hype. Anyone that says they're holding back or they're saving their best stuff that's done, that's not Sony's style. If they had games ready, they would have showed you, they would have given us the Year of Dreams Part 2 as we were all expecting, and they didn't. And I apologize for the paused screen. I have to put some new footage in there. I'll get to it in a second. Gamers Play HUD Zero, who's been a channel member for 19 months. Thank you for the generosity, brother. He says, Boom and panel. Xbox will show no mercy. Xbox, we are playground games here. Oh, yes, they're going to be in movie theaters. Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that. And let me reiterate on it. It was announced by Xbox marketing this morning that the showcase for Xbox, as well as the Starfield showcase, is going to be shown for free in select theaters in your state. You have to go to, I believe it is Xbox Fan Fest, to find out what participating movie theaters will be offering the showcase. They're also giving anyone that attends a free $10 voucher for snacks while you're there, meaning buy your popcorn, buy your Twizzlers, buy your drinks. $10 of whatever you get is on Xbox at no charge. I don't have the list in front of me of participating regions and areas, but you can go to their social media site and find out exactly where. Maybe it's in your local theater. I don't know if there's going to be one in New Rochelle, but I know that we're doing a post show. I probably wouldn't go anyway because I have a post show with a huge guest list that we're gonna be going live Sunday evening right after the Starfield showcase. So thanks so much for that info, brother. Kevin Baldwin drops who's a new channel member. Whoa, dude, Kevin, thank you so much for that. That is awesome. Super appreciate that. And he drops a $5 super chat and says, the gaming world is against the X. They always have been. Time to take the gloves off and swing. We've held the line. Time to advance. No mercy. 6/11/23. I agree. I cannot wait, Kevin, to Microsoft closes this ABK deal, shows off their first party games and their quote unquote bangers. The gaming media is going to have to suck an egg, and they're going to have to bend the knee. And I am here for it. I cannot wait for them to bow down to Xbox doing not only everything right for gamers, for consumers, for the planet, in Microsoft's ways of how they're helping the planet. But when they take on gaming and they start delivering their first party, they're going to have to bend the knee, and I'm going to be here for it with the crispy receipts. Raiden Blade drops a very generous additional £2 super chat. Xbox show team up with ILP Lognet XNC. I'd love to see a big team up with like the circles that we roll in. That would be kind of dope. But
Windows Central, and they could also team up with Mr. Boomstick too.
Yeah, well, I mean, they know who I am. I know that for a fact. I'm in the Rolodex, folks. I just didn't get invited to FanFest this year. It's fine. I'm not feeling a type of way. But Web Dave, let's get your hot take on this. This was a poor showing from Sony. Yes, they had some big third-party games there, but their first party did not show. And what they showed in regards to their gas game strategy were poor.
Yeah, no, it was a weak show. If you were going to give it a grade out of 10, I would say it's probably a 5 for me, a low 5. And even then, the Spider-Man stuff, I mean, okay, Spider-Man 2, you know, some people were talking about the graphics looking bad. I think that, obviously it's not gone gold yet. So there's still some room for them to soup it up toward the end. Not making excuses. I still think it's an expansion pack to the original Spider-Man and Miles Morales. I don't think that's any I'm not looking forward to it. I could care less, to be honest with you. So, but that's just me. But some people out there really enjoy it, and that's cool. Have fun with it. Excuse me. But the and totally opposite take. The little handheld device. I'm buying one because for me it'll work out because my wife's on the TV and the big 75-inch TV in the living room. Well, I can be playing whatever I want. On my also I do have the Xbox as well, but I do have a PlayStation 5. I have all game systems, so I'm a gamer, not just a fanboy. I do prefer the ecosystem for the Xbox, and there you go. But I don't know. It's just it wasn't a great show. They definitely didn't have all the bells and whistles that we were expecting. I mean, fanboys were going nuts. They were ready for the second coming, and and they did not get that, and it hit them like a brick truck. That when it didn't pan out for them. But again, are they holding back? I don't think so. That wouldn't make sense for them to hold back. Do they have a couple of things that they're planning on showing in a couple of weeks at the
Potentially.
Keeley's summer show? Of course. Are they going to be their best things? Probably not. But there could definitely be a surprise or two that they've held back because that would only make sense. I guarantee you Microsoft is going to have a few things at that this year. And then when their show comes out, it's going to, unload the beast, hopefully. We don't know for sure, but we're anticipating, especially since they've seen the response to the Sony show, that they can do nothing but go up. But I'm not, I'm not sure. I don't have any kind of insight on that. I would just say that right now the ball is in Microsoft's court, and they definitely need to come out super strong in all aspects and everything. And hopefully, I'm looking forward to Starfield. I know it's going to be a great game, but my God, if it comes out and it's just like everything everybody's talking about afterwards, that's what we need. We need the focus to be on Microsoft, and Microsoft needs this to go well for them. So they, I believe, are going to throw the kitchen sink at this at their showcase. And if they don't, it's it's I can't see them not putting on a good show. We've heard a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation, a lot of things that are that are coming out. And of course, a lot of people talk about this big bombs that might happen. Well, what if they announce the first view or trailer or whatever for GTA at their show. Not necessarily exclusivity, but maybe the marketing deal or something with GTA
Hey,
6.
dude,
That would be awesome.
It'd be epic, dude. If they, I put it to this way, I know that a lot of people don't like the ideology of closing out your show with the one more thing being third party. I disagree with that because if the game is as big as if the franchise is
Exactly.
as big as what a first party franchise, put it this way, folks, just imagine right now we're watching the show and they've shown Hellblade. We get a release date for this year. We get a release date for Forza. It's this year. We get a chance to see Avowed. We get a chance. We get something from Fable. You get something from Compulsion. You get something from In Exile. And you're like, holy cow, this is amazing. They say, listen, we got one. Just imagine this, folks. Just I'm getting goosebumps just saying it. I would go crazy if this happened live on the air. Phil Spencer comes out and says, listen, Before we go, folks, we do have one more thing. I want to invite to the stage a very good friend of mine and a fantastic partner of Xbox, Strauss from 2K Games. And he goes, "Listen, folks, I know that there's been a lot of talk of GTA, and I know you want to play the game, and we're working hard to make this the greatest GTA of all time. We have partnered with Microsoft to bring you GTA in its best form and fashion on the Series X. Here's the first trailer. Goes black. Boom. There it goes on the screen. You see cops chasing whoever the protagonist is, and it just ends like that. That is the exclamation point, holy shit moment that would take on such a life of its own, Dave. It would be uncomparable.
Here we go again.
Can I just say it worked? It worked with Cyberpunk, did it not?
Yeah.
Even though the game did not release the way we wanted, it worked with Cyberpunk. Everybody's like, "Oh no," so I agree with you.
Yeah, continue, Dave. I'm sorry for that.
No,
interruption, if you will.
That's it's that would be amazing, and and to be honest, it's and maybe that's what we need. I know Phil has said he's not he's not big on buying up exclusivity and all this kind of stuff from other, I get that. I understand it, but right now you're in a war. You're having a lot of little battles, but it's time to up the game, and it's time to, I'm not saying you got to go throw money and everything, but pick one or two things that are in your favor, and even just a marketing deal with something like GTA 6, throw a ton of money at it. It would absolutely light up the console.
One game to rule them all.
Exactly.
One marketing deal to rule them all.
So you're saying they should go for Gollum? All right then.
No, Gollum is apparently a terrible game, dude. I watched Maddie Play's video this morning, and Maddie plays normally like myself. I love Maddie. He's normally very positive, and he's like, "Listen, I got nothing nice to say about this game. It's awful, and you know what? It looks terrible." So.
It'll be on Game Pass soon.
Yeah, potentially.
Hey, Boom. On a side note, though, I just want to say your show yesterday. I'm so glad that you went over the boundaries and stayed longer, because it was just a fantastic show.
I couldn't get away from it. Thank you. It's very kind of you. The information that he was dropping, it was freaking. Again, I've become a lot smarter thanks to Florian Mueller and Post Up, and of course. Hoglaw, there's been several people that have been really on top of this, and like I said, I have law enforcement background. I could tell you the patrol guide, I could tell you the penal law, back, forth, and center. That's my forte. It's what I did 21 years for. I can't tell you anything about business law, and every time they post something, I do read with a keen eye, because they are like rock solid, amazing. But listen, Dave, good stuff as always, brother.
Thanks,
Let's get the final take from Mr. Dreadpool himself. Dreadpool, look, the reason why I think I'm as hard on Sony for this, or why the community is so disappointed, is because this is not Sony coming off of a State of Play that was amazing. This is not Sony coming off of last year's E3 that they showed the future of the brand. This is coming off of an SIE, a PlayStation, that took a 600+ day absence from a showcase where many PlayStation fans were ultimately looking for what was happening for the second half of the generation for Sony, like they did for the show, deemed by Kind of Funny Games as the year of dreams, right? What they showed us, and no one has said this, and I've talked about this in some private areas, to me, this looked like Microsoft's failure from last year with their, hey, this is what we got for the next 12 months, because that's what it felt like. Even though they didn't say it was a 12-month show, that's what it felt like. Why the pandering by the media? Are they in the pocket? And let's get your hot take on the show.
Well, you guys know that I don't like giving grades on shows. I don't like giving numbers. At every show, I try not to have any expectations, no matter what everybody else is putting out there. all the leaks and this and that. And it's either, I go by the Yemena, which is, yeah, meh, or nah, it's for me, or it's not, whatever. But I gotta say, it was actually a pretty good show, if it's not a great show for Xbox to put off a PlayStation showcase, really promoting Spider-Man 2. I mean, Xbox did a really great job at this. I'm surprised. If you guys can't tell my sarcasm.
Oh no, I could definitely tell your sarcasm.
Yeah.
It's oozing through the earphones.
But I mean, it's just funny how everybody's like, oh, for near perfect, with these are the issues, but yet we'll give it a 10. It's like, okay, come on now, please stop. I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect 10. We already know that in life, and it's funny how, again, certain games, Hi-Fi Rush, as good of a game as it is, we'll give it an Xbox tax because they haven't put out any other games, and we're going to lower the score because of.
Or
again,
to your point, I would have given it a higher score if it would have been on PlayStation.
Correct, right? That's what they meant to say, without actually saying it. But I mean, there's quite a few games that really hit me. There's a few games that was like I'm kind of in disbelief, and I'm just gonna kind of roll through them real fast and say that where to go. Obviously, Alan Wake definitely must play for me. Obviously.
Well, you're Mr. Horror, so of course.
Yeah, so that's going to be one of those things. What was it? The Unreal Tournament, because I moved my notes around. The Unreal Tournament. Where did I come up with that? Resident Evil 4 VR mode. That was kind of cool. It was nice to see that. It's not going to drive me to buy the PlayStation VR 2. It plain and simple. I don't think anybody's going to drive to buy it just for that. Okay. All the games that they've showed, none of them would drive you to say, hey, this is why we're going to get the PSVR 2. Finally, this is the reason. And all these other games are going to be bonus, that we already have it, we can get it. And if you already have it, I'm looking at it like, if I did have it, would any of these games excite me? Right? And Resident Evil 4 would be one of them. But the one that I liked was the, where'd it go? Arizona Sunshine 2? Is that the one?
Yeah, that's the zombie one.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. So that one there to me looked cool. And, and I know everybody's getting tired of zombies. Everybody's getting tired of this and that. And it's like, okay, well, you're running out of tropes. What else are we going to put in there? So sometimes that's what it is, and unfortunately you have games that are going to imitate others or mimic others, and that's where we have, I don't know, let's call it Space Troopers, because that's what it was. I loved it for the humor of it. I loved how they did that part of it. Now let's see if the gameplay also includes that humor, also includes that nuance that Space Troopers would have had. You know what I mean? So something like that to keep it going. Other than that, is it just another co-op game that we're battling dinosaurs or aliens? Is it just one of those things that's it's not going to hit right? It's maybe it'll do well if it was in Game Pass, only because it's in Game Pass and more people have access to it. But I can't see anybody wanting to spend that kind of money on a game that you really don't know much about. If they put it, thank you, Starship Troopers. What was I saying before? I don't know. Anyway, but same scenario. It's just, what is it? And then you look at Assassin's Creed Mirage. Looks great, but is it just another updated Assassin's Creed 2? I don't know. I mean, we're looking at Marathon. I was excited to see this one when I saw it, but after I saw it, I was like, what's the point?
I fell off a cliff when they said it's like multiplayer only. Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah,
thanks.
And I'm trying to look at the positive side of this. I'm not trying to be the Mr. Complainer. But then you look at Gran Turismo. Okay, you put the trailer in there, but how about I don't know, updating the trail a little bit, like Fuzzy was saying. I already had it in my notes. What if there should have been like a new GT announcement to go with it? You know, hey, by the way, here's a sample. You know, and be like, did you notice in the trailer we also put a sample of Gran Turismo in there? See if you can find where it was. You know what I mean? Something like that to like, oh, not only push the movie, but there's a game to come along with it. I like the DLC aspect that Fuzzy brought up, that okay, maybe there could have been some sort of announcement with DLC that more cars, or the cars that were in the movie are going to be recreated one to one into the game, so you could play these exact cars that were put in that movie. Something to promote Gran Turismo. And it was like, okay, what was the point? You know, and everybody's like, TV. Okay, what is it? Movie now? I mean, what's the point? Wasn't this a bad thing years ago? I mean, again, it doesn't make sense. And then, okay, I know I moved on from the VR part. I'm going to go right back to it. WTF Crossfire.
Dude, I wouldn't do that.
You know, it's like, what are you talking about here? So, and then you had the Ultros, the loop game. Another, seriously, what's going on? I mean, Metal Gear Solid, I'll take that one, no problem. That was great. The Spider-Man, right? People were talking about being co-op. Stop listening to these idiots that are throwing stuff out there and seeing what sticks, and then say, see, it came out. And then when it doesn't, and it flops off, and they're like, well, you know, that was just a rumor I heard. It didn't mean that I knew it. I didn't know nothing. You know, or they don't even say anything like IGN, don't admit that you're wrong, you know, and then they just gloss over it. Like, but I was right over this. No, you just threw whatever you could to the cabinet. And if the spaghetti stuck, that's what you're going to stick with. Anything else that came down, didn't want to even acknowledge it or clean it up. You know, that's what they do. So forget those guys. Quit giving them that view or whatever, the attention that they want. But going back to Spider-Man, okay, the storyline made sense to keep it the way it is. You know, Boom and I were talking in the green room before. It would have been cool. You know, maybe they'll listen and they'll create a co-op storyline where you're actually able to pick out, I don't know, the Spider-Man from the multiverse. And maybe your intro, your onboarding into the game would be, you pick the character and you play like a small mission like they've done with some of the racers, some of the other games that, you know, before you can go online and play co-op or multiplayer, whichever way that they set it up. You play it this way, you get there, and this is where you meet up with all the different Spider-Men from the different universes. And then at that point in time, you start playing your character, the other people, however many people they allow to play co-op, jump on and you play that portion of the story together. And you know, maybe 6 hours into it, and you have different bosses leading up to the last boss. You know, think of it as Zelda. You know, you
That'd
go
be kinda
wherever,
dope.
you have
I
no
like that.
no
Yeah.
information, but you're trying to find where the last boss is, right? So you're trying to find where Ganon is. Well, figure out who the boss is going to be for this universe, and this is where you go in, and you play as whatever Spider-Man you pick, and you go from one boss to the next, trying to figure out the puzzles to solve to figure out who the last boss truly is, and then you can go that way. You know, so you may even run into him right off the bat and beat the game in a half hour. I don't know, whatever. It just go from there. And then you think about each character and how they are. You know, Spider-Man Noir. How about when you go into his universe, everything's in black and white? Could you imagine that Spider-Man universe, black and white, going through all this,
Yeah, like
seeing
the
all this?
game from Activision
You know what I
back
mean?
in the days. Yeah,
This
that'd
is
be dope.
stuff that they could do for multiplayer if you wanted a Spider-Man like that. This is stuff that could be, I don't know, implemented, but they don't want to do that. They want to do their thing, which is fine. But you got to remember, they already created a storyline. They cannot split this off and say, hey, now we have a co-op, because you saw the trailer. You saw Peter Parker going off in the distance and are like, was he usually like that? No. Okay, well, you can't be Peter Parker going off in a trailer like that and playing that as that character as the storyline's progressing, showing you that there's something going on because Venom's taking over. You can't do that stuff. but it was cool to see that if you put it in context, okay, put it back in context, it's a great design. The storyline is great for a single player game, and this is going to be a good game regardless. I don't care what you say. Hopefully we didn't see any puddle gates. Hopefully all that stuff is out the door. But speaking of puddle gate, there is a big puddle here. I'm sorry, but there's a big puddle here. We are playing with high-end devices, high-end tech, and yet we're going to mimic low-end tech that does not belong in the high-end division. And that is, what is that? The
Project
Q?
Q.
Are
Yeah.
you kidding me?
First of all, the fact that it's not even a streaming box like the Logitech G Cloud, right? You can stream your Xbox to it, sure, but you can play games via the cloud. It's not that. It's literally made for you to stream from your PlayStation, which is $550. So this device, which there's no price, there's no release date, is going to be minimum $300 to $400, which is
outrageous.
ridiculous.
It's outrageous.
It is
I mean,
outrageous. So Sony, man.
think about what you got when you bought the PlayStation Wii U. Think about what you got there. Part of that controller was a lot more, and I understand the technology behind it. Okay, but you're not buying the console. You're buying a handheld TV screen that's going to have technology as it does for your controller. But it's just so funny that not only do we have the Q, we have, what did we say before? Foam stars.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
So is this going to be a high-end Switch? Is this where we're going at? Aren't we supposed to be moving on and doing better?
They'd have been better with a Vita 3 or
something
Vita
like
Pro
that.
2 or whatever. Yeah.
And then for the price, you're going to have to get a third job because your second job is to buy the VR.
Yeah.
So you got to get a third job for this. I mean, there's just, again, it wasn't a bad show. It wasn't a great show either. You know, I had my wife watch it, and she was like, "No way, Starship Troopers," and she got disappointed when she found out it wasn't. Metal Gear Solid Delta, she was like, "That's pretty cool," but then I had to inform her that they're going to be using the same voiceovers as they did from the original game, so we're not going to see anything new other than the visuals.
Yep.
So if they're going to use exactly everything 100%,
you played the game already. I beat it. I don't know if you. I don't remember it. I'm going to be honest with you. So I'm going to buy it and play it through on Xbox. But
it's still interesting. It's just disappointing, you know. And at least they were 100% upfront with you. All right, and that's where I'm at. At least they were 100%. Hey, you know, here's the trailer. Here's the information. Oh, by the way, so you know now, Xbox, you better be listening. So you know now, this is what's going on with the game. We are using 100% of the audio from the original game. Period. Okay, we know that ahead of time. Is it disappointing? Yes, it is. But when the game comes out and it looks great, even though the audio is bad or old, not bad. It's not bad. It's just old. But even though the audio is old, at least you can understand why, because it was already said right away. Here we go. You know, and the culmination of all of this, I think, you know, here's PC games has been pushed back on the focus so that way they can focus on console, you know. And was that kind of a dig a little bit? Maybe was that a little bit of the truth by Jim Ryan? Maybe, right? You would say that. Okay. So if Xbox has been having these issues with Redfall, with Starfield, with some of these other games that I don't know, Halo, that's one of the biggest loves and disappointments at the same time. You know what I mean? And you look at that and you're like, okay, so here we are. Where are these bangers that everybody's talking about? Where are these things that we're going to change and revolutionize the gaming industry because Sony's in the lead and they can do no wrong? Where is that? You know, factions. Oh, wait, I think that's still stuck on PS3, to be honest. It is, you know, we haven't seen it. We have not seen it. Where is it? I mean, my wife called it fractions because that's all we're playing now. You know what I mean? So when you look at it, what's going on? Some of these games, what's going on with this? This should have been here by now, right? All these games should have been in here by now. Wait a second. This sounds very familiar. Oh, wait. Xbox. How come you're pushing out a Sony PlayStation showcase and you don't have any games? This sounds like Xbox, does it not? So
Well, it sounds like an Xbox move for sure.
right,
And
right.
yeah,
So is this maybe there's some truth to all of this from these devs? You know, some devs can manage beyond the restrictions that we've had for the past few years, and maybe these games are just that much bigger that they require a little bit more information, more involvement that you cannot do unless you're in person, right? So maybe the COVID thing had to have a impact on some of these games, because where are the rest of them? Where are the rest of these games that Sony was holding out for this year?
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
Right?
only time is going to tell, Dread. But listen, at the end of the day, let's get your final points and we'll get everyone out of here.
All right. So the final point is for the PlayStation, I think they need to take the A out in their slogan. You know, their greatness waits.
Paystation?
No, it's going to be
that's
greatness
the L.
waits, not awaits. Greatness waits. Plain and simple. Greatness waits.
I mean, look, you don't. At least for me, I'm speaking for myself, guys. I don't tune in to a PlayStation show to see third party. I just don't. I tune in because I'm expecting quality first party exclusives. They didn't deliver on that. They didn't deliver. It was a disappointment for me. I rank it as a D, and it's not an F like slow mo because of Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man looked amazing. Phantom Blade Zero looks great. There are quite a few titles that looked good, but that's not why I tuned in. And considering it again, this is coming off a hiatus of 600 days without a show. But listen, let me catch up on these last super chats, and then we will get everyone out of here so you can start your weekend, and I can go put ice on my head. Dark Winters drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, the PlayStation show reminded me of Xbox 2022, just like Dredd said. Absolutely, 100%. We have Parasite, 82 Green, drops a very generous 10-pound super chat and says, my new bars that I dropped on WWP, and I'm sure that you and Gaz will love this. Jim Ryan is lying and is now crying alongside the ponies because Sony is no longer providing. That is freaking hilarious. Raiden Blade drops an additional 5 pounds super chat and says, send marketing to WBG, TTS, Kraken Dem, 108 Dragons TV, which is awesome, and BoomStick. Let these Xbox podcasters market your games, reach more gamers, and we'll have pull, and they are cheaper. Yes, I'm very cheap. Sorry to say that, but I listen. If I do the work of Microsoft, not because I'm capping for the company or they give me anything. I haven't gotten anything from Microsoft outside of a few review codes, and that's fine. I don't do this. I'm not doing this, folks, for Microsoft to give me stuff, free stuff. Listen, it's fine. I do it because I really do like the brand. It's my favorite platform, and that's why I dedicate 3 of the 5 live streams to Xbox, because I'm a fan of the brand. We have Raiden Blade drops an additional very generous 2 pounds super chat and says, give nothing to Keeley and only Game Pass ads and second show. Yeah, I wouldn't give him anything. I just wouldn't. But to be fair, whether you like Keeley or you don't, a lot of people don't like him because of his shenanigans. He is important to the industry, and he does garner millions upon millions of views, especially at the end of the year. So, yeah, you got to tip your cap. You got to be a part of the Keeley process, even though you may not agree with some of his antics. He's still a important part of the gaming aspect because of how many people, how much reach the Game Awards actually have. Mr. Nichols, what's going on, Mr. Nichols? He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, boom, May 30th, CMA versus Microsoft at Cat Appeal. May 30th, FOS posted on Twitter. Yeah, someone actually, did I miss a super chat or something? Because someone actually I could have sworn. Oh, no, here it is. It's coming up. Gamers Player HUD Zero drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, if you paid attention to the end of the PlayStation showcase, Jim used the surprise and delight line Phil used during the IGN interview, hashtag mocked. Dark Winters drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, what I want from the Xbox showcase is Hellblade 2. Release date, avowed gameplay, perfect dark gameplay, Fable gameplay, and some new titles. Even if the new titles just get CG trailers, I think Dark Winters, that is a phenomenal lineup. Whole Grain Bread drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, Foss Patents just posted a tweet regarding Cat and ABK. Thank you for that. Kev Jr. 33 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, boom, as a fellow NYPD retiree, brother, that's awesome. Congratulations on your retire. You crossed the finish line, and in that line of work, hard to do. He says, we should hold a game stat and hold IGN accountable at the podium. LOL. Yeah, they're eventually going to be held accountable because people keep receipts. I personally don't, but Crispy Bomb does, and he will let people know about themselves. Nady Nate drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, that handheld looked like if it should have been attached to Batman's belt. Oh my god, Batman's belt. Imagine if the adaptive triggers have any lag in a game you're streaming. Crazy. Yeah, that's it's a device that logistically, if it was a full-on cloud-based device, not just tied to streaming on the PS5, it would be something. But you can't, Sony hasn't invested in the cloud. That's why it's only works with your PS5. That's
I'll be the guinea pig. Boom, I'm gonna get one.
Yeah, okay. Listen, you'll just let us know. Highlander 001 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, Cat just published Microsoft's appeal, which will begin May 30th. So thank you so much for that. So let's get everyone out of here, folks, because I am running out of steam. Honestly, I definitely feel sick, but I wanted to finish the show, and I did not want to miss today's talk. Let's get to the outros. We'll start with Dreadpool. Throw your stuff up there, brother, so we can get everyone to subscribe to your YouTube channel. And
I wish I could. I appreciate it.
Right,
it's just my Streamlabs is.
Listen, that's why I don't like Streamlabs. But listen, folks, Dreadpool, sell your brand, brother.
Yes.
Please tell everyone where they can check out Breaking Bread with Dread, and more importantly, not only follow you on Twitter, but subscribe to you on social media.
Yes, thank you, Boom. It's awesome hanging out with the panel here every Friday, and we really appreciate each and every one of you guys in the chat. We love y'all and really appreciate it. So many big thanks to you guys. Enjoy your weekend. I know a lot will have a 3-day weekend, and I know there's those in the service industry that never get to enjoy these kind of days. But hopefully, when you do go to work, you make some money. So we really appreciate you guys. You guys take care. And then as for me, I am still currently working on the latest Breaking Bread with Dread. I did record another one, so I am backed up. I've got Spooky Empire. I'm still doing stuff for. I have the 360 videos and all that stuff I'm working on. So hopefully this 3-day weekend will allow me to get caught up and get stuff out to you. But every night right now, for the next couple nights, I have videos coming out, little shorts from the Spooky Empire. And so it's just keep an eye out for that. Please like and share everything from everybody that's on the panel, including Booms, including this show right here. And just so you know, every Sunday night, 7 p.m., I know we go up against Dave and Red Tree with the Gamers Console, but, put us both on. Get on your PC, log us both in, listen to both of us at the same time, comment to both of us at the same time, right? Don't leave them out.
Crossover show coming on.
Yeah, there should be, right?
Like that. That's a great idea.
So you never know. But yeah, if you guys want to see something like that, hit me up, hit Dave up, and maybe, they can talk and work something out. But definitely 7 p.m. And then Friday mornings right here, 10 a.m. Pass it out there. Every time we start, share it out there. Don't just like and sub and thumbs up and whatever else you want to do. Share it out there. Let everybody else know we're here. Let everybody else know what's going on Friday mornings at 10 a.m. And I keep forgetting to mention this, but as a resident guest, I am a resident guest on Good Morning Xbox, and this is on the Iconic Video Games Podcast channel. He took over the show, and now it's on his channel. So I'm a resident guest until he can find some more panel members. But definitely check us out Sundays at 9 a.m. Eastern. Right? Yeah,
Nice,
9 a.m.
nice,
Eastern. Yes.
nice,
So
brother.
definitely check us out. Support every single one of these guys out there, and listen for the crispy truth when it comes out. Don't let it bite you, because
Yeah.
he keeps those receipts.
Absolutely. And speaking of Crispy Bomb, Crispy, by all means, sell your brand, brother. Sell your receipts. Well, don't sell the receipts. Keep the receipts when you have to use them. Where can people find you on social media in regards to Twitter and other places? And what else you got going on?
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple now. You know, you can find me here every Friday morning. Yeah, I'm going on vacation soon, but it's a couple weeks away. But you know, other than that, I will be here. It's at Crispybomb on Twitter, Crispybomb28, Xbox Live. And I just want to, you know, if there's anybody from Xbox listening, I want one thing and one thing only. I want I want X gonna give it to you, just the beat, and Phil come out. That's what I want.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Dude, I am
And
standing up right now. I am standing up, hands up. I'm ready for this. Do it.
I'm just telling you, like, you know, it's time to go for the throat. I know it's a hard thing to say, but
Nope.
like it's time. It's time. And I love everybody in the chat. I love you guys, and I will be here till the end of time.
Yeah, yes,
go.
you will, and you're always welcome, brother. And we're very privileged and honored to have you here each and every Saturday morning, when of course you're not on vacation, brother. So thank you for that, as always. Web Dave, sell your brand, brother. You got a show coming up on Sunday. You got big interviews in the pipe, some that you dropped this week. Talk about it, brother. Sell your brand. Let's get you to 2K now. Talk about it.
Thanks, Boom. I know you're feeling bad, so we'll make this quick. I did drop the link in the chat. Everybody can check it out if they're interested. Also, you know, they did start filming Dreadpool the 3 this week, so you never know what could happen.
Yeah,
To make
super
some kind of
excited for that.
cameos. I'm just saying. But yeah, so this week on excuse me, on the Gamers Council, we have Mr. Badbit, we have Mr. Big Cloud, and we have
Nice.
Red Dead Panda. So it's going to be a
Nice.
good
Wow,
show
what a trio. Holy matrimony.
Yep.
That's awesome.
To go over the showcase, break it all down. And these guys, they're not exactly too happy with all of it either. So we'll get some insiders from from PlayStation perspective as well. Get in their fields and see what they think about it. So it's going to be good. And man, I had such a great week this week. Lots of great stuff coming down the pipe. I mean, my gosh, this week we had Dirt Griggy, and oh my gosh, he is so good. And my video, when it dropped, it's got over almost 900 views on it, and
Nice.
it's a good interview. It's a solid interview. He's a great dude. If you're an Xbox fan, you definitely want to check that one out, because he lit it up. I'll tell you that right now. And Monday I've got Ham Solo dropping, and the week after that we got Asa from Game On.
Nice.
Daily.
Ham
So,
Solo,
there you go.
dude. Really, really good podcaster. I had him on a couple of weeks ago. Good guy. And Asa, of course, what could you say? The silent assassin. So yeah, good stuff as always, Dave, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Glad
Get feeling
to
better,
see
Boom.
you lining up to be interviewed. And obviously, if you're not subscribed, you're doing it wrong. And last and no way least, Fuzzy Belvedere. Sell your brand, brother. Talk about where people can find you in other podcasts, where they can find you on social media, and what else you got going on.
Oh man, just thank you for having me. Sorry for having to run here a little bit late. Got some last minute stuff as the kids' school year finishes out, but so glad to be here with you guys. Chat was awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming out for our live show, and those that catch us on replay. For those that want to hear my endless rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on Xbox Ultimate later on tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fun Speculations channel. the Shop Podcast on Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on PTK Blam's channel. And then right back here for the Xbox Lunch Break special. Well, actually, I just want to make sure. Are we
No,
doing...
we're yeah. You came into the late. We're actually going to skip Monday.
Okay.
I'm actually going to take a day off. Mrs. Boom was off from work. You guys are off. You went hanging out with your family. So yeah. So this Monday, and I'm going to do an official announcement on my Twitter account. There will not be a lunch break special show on Monday because I want to observe the holiday and give the panel members a chance to enjoy their time off with their friends and their family. We will be back at it tomorrow, next week. Instead of 5 shows, you're going to get 4, Tuesday through Friday. And obviously, if there's any breaking news that happens, we'll cover it respectively. But yeah, I'm gonna take a day off to catch my breath, if you will. 'Cause I've been doing this 5-day show thing for a while, and want to obviously give the panel members a break.
Much appreciated. And for all of you guys, enjoy your holiday weekend. Be safe, have fun, and see you again later on in the next week.
Absolutely. And listen, folks, first of all, I just want to say a big thank you to all of the super chats that have come in. I mean, it's so many that sometimes it's hard to keep up with. I cannot thank you enough for the extreme generosity. I do want to offer all of our servicemen and women a big thank you for protecting us, allowing us to go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning without any foreign interactions. It's because of you and your dedication to this country that both present and past and future members of the service. So, of course, celebrate Memorial Day. Thank anyone that you know that is a former or current or even a future member of the service, because, well, it's their sacrifices that why we are here. And of course, I'm going to close out the show, folks, with something that is important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. Be safe. Don't drink and drive, and have an amazing holiday weekend. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.